Okay, so we've talked about the Galaxy Note in terms of the top end of smartphone segments, right? So we have the three top, mid, and low end. Now we're going to move into the mid, low end segment in terms of specs. Does it matter? So if you're spending about, how much is the Mi A3? 1,500.
Hang on, let me check my production team. How much is the Mi A3?
899 for 64 and 464, and then 999 for 4128.
For like 1,000 ringgit, you get a Super AMOLED display.
AMOLED display.
Super,
I don't think there's a super there.
AMOLED display. It's an AMOLED display. You get a 4,000 mAh battery, a Snapdragon 730 processor, right? No, 720?
675, right? 665.
So we get a Snapdragon 665 processor, which is like, again, a lower mid-range device. Now, the thing is, okay, with that, you cannot expect a lot lah, right? So this is the specs that you get. You get, where's the device? This is the one, right?
Yes.
So you get a triple camera, wide angle, zoom, and...
no zoom, depth.
A depth sensor, a wide angle.
And an ultra wide.
And ultra wide,
Yep.
right? So this is the norm for this price. You wouldn't buy anything else if it doesn't have all these things, right? If it's priced the same.
I would say it's actually a little bit better since it's under $1,000 because the 665 is sort of like an upper mid-range processor.
Yeah.
So it's actually a pretty good deal if you look at those specs.
It's a nice device.
Yeah.
Now, the problem that a lot of people have, or a lot of the people on this side of the table have, is the display. So I don't know if you can punch in to the display. The display on the Mi A3, which succeeds the Mi A2. So this is the upgrade or the newer version of the Mi A series, right? So there's the Mi A1, Mi A2, and then the Mi A3, which is this one. A display that has a lower resolution compared to the one that it replaces. And everybody went crazy about it.
For good reason.
So now I'm going to go back to what Rory said. For the price, 999 for the
top spec, right?
The top spec, which is the
664. 664, right?
464.
464 top spec.
High spec is 4128.
4128.
Storage, right? UFS.
Alright, so
UFS
with the top end at 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, which is expandable, right? Right, Alex?
Yes.
Okay, with an expandable storage and no headphone jack, you're getting this phone for less than 1,000 ringgit, which is a really good buy if you want like a phone that's competent, can do games, can take pictures. This is really good.
Especially at 128 gigs. I think
Yes.
the only other phone that's below $1,000 with 128 is the what's that phone called? Realme 3 Pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at now is we have all the good specs and to make this phone good and a good price.
And then they ruin it all with the 720p screen.
Does it matter if it has a 720p display? So I don't think so. Go and tell me why it matters.
No. You start with why you don't think so.
I've already opened my. I've already made the opening remarks. In the rules of debating or discussion, you now have to.
So I have to ring the bell. Wait, how does debate work?
I don't know. Okay, so Rory believes that the 720 display ruins the device. Okay, why do you say that?
So, okay, first off, 720p. I mean, come on, it's 2019. You're still gonna put a 720p screen? This thing, okay, and I have a PPI calculator right here. This is a laptop, not a PPI calculator, but it has a PPI calculator open on the browser. So if I were to put in the resolution, which is 1560 by 720, so if I were to put in 1560 by 720, screen 6.01, and you get 285.88 pixels per inch. That's less than 300 pixels per inch. I have watches with higher PPI than that, probably.
So okay.
So that is the no. I haven't rung the bell.
Okay.
Okay. So then you have that, and then you have the added problem that it's a pentile screen, which means there are more green pixels than there are other colors. So because of that, text looks a little bit fuzzy at the edges, and you can see that. You can see, or at least I can see that. Apparently, some people at this table don't see that. But you can see sort of like the little sort of like hazing around the edges. It just looks like a low quality display. Okay, but the nice thing about this screen compared to the previous one is that this is an AMOLED screen, so it's more vibrant, it's more
Blacker.
punchy, you get better contrast. But is that enough to give up on the resolution? Okay, so if it's a question of whether people can get used to it, I mean, you can get used to it.
But are you gonna knock it down because of it?
Yes. So this is definitely going to be like it's in the con section. It's not in the pro section.
So you said that. So would you get a Realme 3 Pro over the Mi A3?
That depends on the review. Because
So
I haven't used it yet. This
Alright.
is just a spec sheet rundown.
Let's list down the good things about the device. It runs on stock Android, which is good. Rory likes it. It has a Snapdragon 665 octa-core processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, expandable, dual SIM card slot, 4,000 mAh battery, which is huge for a phone this size. It has a 6-inch AMOLED display. So the problem is it's 720p. I don't see it as a problem because, you know, if you're gonna buy a phone, right, you don't have, not to say you don't have, but people don't usually compare displays side by side. So if you go to the show floor and you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, it's not really that bad. I mean, I can read it, not really an issue. Later we'll punch in and take a recording of this and put it into this segment here.
No, I think we have a photo, right? So the photo can just
Yeah.
appear like.
And you know, so we showed the video. We talked about this, and I think Roland Kwan was quite curious as well, and he asked whether it's a pentile display because he pointed it out to us that if it's a pentile display, it's even worse. And I took a picture and showed it to him, and it was definitely a pentile display. But at the point of buying this, 1,000 ringgit, I mean, it doesn't matter lah. I'm using a lot of this other phone. I don't have an issue with this at all. The problem with this is that I did have an issue with the iPhone XR, which has a HD display as well, but it's not 720, right? Okay, bring out your calculator again.
So if
What's
we
the
were
difference?
to bring out the PPI calculator.
So just to recap, the Mi A3 has a 286 PPI.
280. Yeah, 286.
Yeah,
if you round up.
285.88, right?
285.88.
Yeah, okay, so 286.
So, the iPhone XR, which Amin didn't like the screen at all.
I don't like this screen.
He didn't like the screen at all. I mean, for good reason, right? Because it's an iPhone.
I'll explain to you why I don't like the display.
But if we look at the display resolution, so it's 1792 by 82 by 828.
Okay.
Okay, so if we were to punch that into the PPI calculator, so 1792 by 828, and then the screen size is 6.1 inches, and you'll get 323.6. But Apple rounds it out to about 326.
That's a significantly more higher PPI count than this one.
Yes. So the reason why, okay, so if we were to explain, do you remember Apple's Retina display, right? So the requirement for it to be a Retina display is that it has to have at least 326 pixels per inch, because apparently that's when your eyes cannot distinguish between the individual pixels. Yeah. So that's why this is still a Retina display on an iPhone XR, even though it's still sort of like, it's below full HD, but it still has that 326 PPI.
Okay. Despite the PPI count, the thing that people always forget is that it uses an LCD display versus an AMOLED display, and it's difficult to explain in a spec sheet, right? Because you see, AMOLED and LCD. So to a lot of people, they don't know the difference, or it doesn't matter to them. If you can put the two displays side by side, you will notice the difference immediately. And for me, that's even more of a big deal because LCD displays have washed out color. They don't have the blacks are not good. They're not that vibrant and they're not that bright. So I don't mind if I'm not gonna. So back to the discussion, specs, right? I'm not gonna knock this device down for its price because it has a 720p display. It has experience that you like. It has a camera that we all agree is not bad. It has a large battery, and it has a battery life that is not bad too. So
yeah, I see those points, and I agree. Okay, I agree that a lot of things about this phone looks really good, but you can't ignore the fact that it's still a 720p screen, right? I mean, it may not affect the overall conclusion. I think it will still probably be a really good phone, but imagine if it had a full HD display. It would be even better. But there is a benefit to the 720p screen though. Battery life will be incredible.
I guess it's easy to say, oh, it doesn't have a 720p display. Oh, it doesn't have a full HD display. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. It's easy to say that, but again, it comes down to the experience. And I think for like a value buy, right? The segment is competitive. We have Honor, we have Realme, we have also Samsung coming into the space, and they're doing like better devices now.
Probably the most competitive segment.
And you have Xiaomi, which is the crown. Xiaomi holds the crown when it comes to bargain basement phones. So for me, it doesn't bother me that it has a 720p display. It doesn't dilute the experience, or it doesn't take anything away from me using the device. But what bothers me is, why did Xiaomi do it? And I guess this thing is like going full circle, right? Specs matter because we need to push, at least in this price segment, because we need to push the manufacturer to say, hey, what is your excuse for not putting a full HD display
when everyone else has?
When your previous model had a full HD display, why are you doing this? So without an answer, I think it's clearly for cost cutting lah.
Yeah.
But then again, the price has not dropped from the previous model.
It is slightly more affordable, yes. The previous model was 1199. At least when it launched, it was like above $1,000. So this is actually more affordable. So I mean, if you look at the grand scheme of things, you can see the trade-offs, right?
Okay.
And I think in general they're mostly positive. But I think the reason why people take such issue with the screen is because it's the thing you're looking at every day.
Yes,
it defines your experience
I
as much as
that. I noted that
as the OS.
when I did my 10R first impression. I said, Apple put in like a really awesome processor, similar camera to the 10s. They didn't compromise on a lot of things, but they compromised on the thing that mattered the most, because that's something that I'm going to have to look at every day and be reminded that I skimped on an iPhone and got the shittier display. But on this, I don't see that.
What?
I don't see that this is a terrible display compared to...
Bias.
I'm not. Okay, so let's put it up to you guys. Okay, so let's put it up to you guys. Where do you sit? Rory's side or my side? Does it matter if this doesn't have a 720? If this doesn't have a full HD display?
How important is that to you?
How is it important? And does it take away from your experience? So I had the benefit of trying the 10R and this together and saying that, I would forgive Apple if they put a 720p display, AMOLED display on the 10R. I would forgive them for that rather than a LCD display. I guess it's a double penalty lah. It's not a full HD display and it's not AMOLED. For me, that's a double point. This is a compromise, but it's a compromise that should not have been. Xiaomi didn't have to do this. They already had a full HD AMOLED panel on the Mi A2.
Oh no, that was actually it's an LCD panel.
Okay, LCD.
Yeah.
But they have AMOLED panels on the Mi 9T, right?
Yes.
So they have panels. Why are they not putting it on this one? Which is weird.
Yep.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. Put down your comments. What do you think? So specs. Affordable mid-range. For the Mi A3, does it matter if it doesn't have a full HD display, or it really needs one? Okay, so thanks very much. Let's move on to the next segment. Alright, so we talked about the Galaxy Note 10.